podcast called Grits and Eggs, and they just have such a nice, like, a nice entrance song. Like, it just sounds. I wish somebody could just create a nice theme song for me like that. But you know what? Maybe me too. I should just enter the studio and just try to, yeah, guys. Today is I'm recording this on early Saturday morning. So it's the 31st of May. Yeah, and April, May, these were good months. I passed. Yeah, let me not lie. Like, I feel blessed, right? There's no other word that I have besides that. I feel blessed. And so yeah, today I just want to give like a recap of a movie that I saw in May. I saw Sinners, and I was really looking forward to watching Sinners. Cause just give me any movie with black people, I'm already sold. And then on top of that, you have black people, and then you have a female lead that looks like that I can identify with. Ah, you have me on a chokehold like this. So yeah, today, just bear with me, guys. I'm not a what's the word? I'm not a movie critic, but I just want to give you guys like the a breakdown of Sinners. But before we start, I just want to talk about like my mental health, how I'm doing. Summer is always like a tricky one for me. Otherwise, like overall, compared to last year, I'm really doing well. I'm enjoying my summer. Okay, wait one moment. Yeah, I'm enjoying my summer, and yeah, life is good. My sister's graduating in June, and we are very excited about that. And besides that, I feel lost still. I think I'm going through like a low key quarter life crisis. But I don't but it's like with that uncertainty. You remember how I was saying that I was feeling very uncertain before? But now it's like I'm at that point where I'm like, I feel like my youth, that's what it's about. Like I should be feeling uncertain at this time. And I feel like low key things are like unraveling the way they should be unraveling. I'm really trying my best to not force things too much. And with that, I've realized that things like when it's time, things are unfolding. I'm learning and unlearning a lot of things about myself. And I'm really enjoying this time period of my life. I'm really enjoying the summer. I'm enjoying the heat. I'm enjoying the clothes. I just realized that I don't like wearing all those coats. I know a lot of people love like winter fashion. I'm just enjoying life, man. So I hope you guys are doing well as well. Just let me know how you're feeling, how you guys usually feel around this time of the year. If you miss home, if you're like me, if you miss home, or you're trying your best to like just enjoy your friends, just enjoy your youth and things like that. Yeah. So yeah, let's talk about sinners. So let's just open up. So first we're introduced to Sammy, preacher boy, who is in conflict with himself, low key. Cause Sammy knows what he wants, but his father wants a different path of himself. So Sammy wants to be a musician. He wants to sing in like during the nightlife and all of that. But obviously, the type of music that he sings is usually like associated with the devil. And then we now cut into like the brother and Smoke and Stack Moore, or their real name or their government names are Elijah and Elias Moore. So apart from the fact that they're twins, you can like if you really look closely, you can like really distinguish between the two. Not only because they're wearing the same clothes, but even like the facial features. I don't know how Michael B. Jordan did that, but you know how like over time when your resting face, depending on how I don't know how to depending on how you usually are like or like the way your expression is like that's the way your features will start to like show like as time progresses, right? And then you can see that with Stack and Smoke. You can see that Smoke is the more wait, is it Stack? One moment. Yes, you can see that Smoke is the very violent twin, and Stack is the very like laid back. But the thing about them is that they're like yin and yang, right? So they complete each other in ways where like I feel like cause Smoke carries a lot of the violence or carries a more of the more of the intensity. Stack doesn't feel the need to be like that because like his brother has that, and because Stack is a more of the jovial person, the more of the people person. Smoke doesn't feel like he should be the one to even he should even try to like assimilate or like try to be a people person. You get what I'm saying? So yeah. So let's talk about Smoke and Stack, right? Like separately. So Smoke, from the off the bat, you can tell that Smoke is like violent. Why? We we have a scene where like, oh, okay, I don't know. There's this like I don't know how to just go into that. Okay, let me try to like paint a picture for you guys, right? So we're introduced to the twins. They're buying like a barn that they're gonna set in a barn that they're going to make into their like bar situation, whatever, right? And then obviously after the whole transaction passes, where like the white guy is surprised that they have the funds to even pay for that, we now move to now, Smoke and Stack now moving to where they have their stash of alcohol. So this alcohol is a mixture of I think it's Italian and Irish alcohol, which is like at the time for you to have both, it's very odd because usually have one or the other because these two sides are like in conflict in each other with each other at the time, right? And then we cut into a scene where like, oh, the stash where they put the alcohol and everything, there's like a snake in there, and then the person that is ready to like kill the snake is Smoke. So that's when we're like introduced to Smoke's violence. And then, yeah, that's when we're introduced into Smoke's violence. Because you could even tell, like, Stack was literally like, those moments when like Stack was literally expecting that from Smoke. It wasn't even like a bargain of who. It wasn't even like a bargain of who's gonna kill the snake. It was automatically Smoke. And then cool. We now move to like a point where like, oh, okay. So they now have to separate their ways. To go meet the people that they need to like complete their juke joint, right? Because they're trying to create a juke joint, right? So Smoke has to go meet the musicians, Stack has to go meet the people, has to go negotiate the food, yeah, has to go negotiate the food, and he also has these other endeavors that they have to do. But before they separate, Smoke tells Sammy that, oh, please watch Stack's back because he doesn't watch his back. And that's another part where you can tell the stark difference between the two because they complete each other. So it's usually Smoke is the one that's always on the fighting P and all of that. So he's a person that's usually like, whereas we are given the idea that Stack in general is more clumsy of the two twins, right? And then you realize that, oh, Smoke is more paranoid, but you could also distinguish that with like maybe being careful, cautious, whereas Stack does not watch his back, as I already said. And the two, and you could also tell like Smoke's Smoke is like apparently like you could tell that Smoke deals with a lot of trauma just by looking at him. Cause his hands shake, his body is always he's always uneasy, he's always down to fight. Whereas Stack, I feel like he stores his trauma different. Cause I at first I was like, maybe he's not traumatized, but I don't want to say that because I feel like Smoke Stack stores his trauma different where it's not very apparent on Stack, right? And then I think maybe also Stack maybe let it go because Smoke is usually the one that's holding on to all of that. So maybe Stack feels like, oh, okay, the things that we have to do with like Loki Stack. Oh, sorry, Loki Smoke is already the one that's gonna deal with that. I don't know how to even explain that. So yeah, they separate, and then now let me start with Stack's story, right? So now we move to Smoke. He's going to speak with I'm not gonna speak about like every detail of the movie, right? So yeah, we now follow Stack. By the way, I'm not really saying it like I'm not saying the movie the way like it was displayed on the screen, right? I'm just saying the scenes that like really touched me. So we're now following Stack and Sammy. Remember Sammy was told to to watch to watch Stack's back. So we now follow them to like a train station situation, a situation like that, right? And then because we're going to look for what's his name? I've forgotten the name. Because we are going to look for Stack is looking for Slim something. I've forgotten his name. But yeah, because he wants him to play at this juke joint that is opening with his brother. So obviously they're negotiating with a guy, da 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 da, blah 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 blah. They get him to play after some negotiations, and that now that's when we're now introduced to Stack's love interest, Mary. Mary says that she's a quarter black or whatever. I don't even know. Even the way she speaks, she doesn't speak like a white woman. The thing with them is that they had a thing before, but Stark told her that, oh, you and I think even Stark knew that you and I cannot be together because of like the way the society is. She said that she doesn't want to be white, but however, one thing that I did notice about what Mary was saying, she doesn't want to be white, but she never said that she wants to be black either. She just said that she doesn't want to be white, but she just wants to be with Stark. So what does that mean? You get what I'm saying? So for me, it was like at that time, if you did not want to be white, that means you wanted to be black. But I feel like Mary, like low key, like subconsciously, she knew well enough to say that she knew a lot, or she has been a lot of around a lot of black people to know that she doesn't want to be black either. You get what I'm saying? She also was a metaphor for so many things in the movie. Her relationship with Stark was so murky because you could tell that he loved her. However, what to what extent was it like that's like a question that I keep asking myself. Like, to what extent did Stark actually love Mary? You get what I'm saying? Maybe Stark, I don't even think like it was even like a Mary issue. I feel like Stark low key, because he's a product of the times as well. He knew that he could only marry, I mean, so he could only love her to a particular extent because at that time they could not really be together. Or they could, even if they tried to be together, society would not allow them to be, they would literally jeopardize each other if they tried that to be together. And he knew that she was trouble, but for that night he really indulged her. Smoke, a businessman, all of that. We now go to him trying to like negotiate about the food that's being served, teaching a child how to negotiate. So he was like low key about the people. Da, 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 da. At least that's the way Smoke is framed, right? He's about the people. He cares about his people. He knows what's going on. He's. I think I got the impression I got the impression that Smoke was maybe more socially aware than Stack about what was going on. At least that's the way I took it, like the way the movie portrayed Smoke, right? So let me move to the love interest because I don't want this thing to be too long. So let me introduce you to Annie because for me, Annie is like my favorite character in the movie because I just feel like I see, yeah, okay. I have so much to say about Annie, about the portray of this. Annie is such a gorgeous woman. But the thing is, I don't want to make it about like representation. Because I feel like every time we see somebody that's dark skinned or somebody that's plus size, we're always trying to make it like about representation, about media not being white, or we try to dump it down to like, just making that entire existence about representing this entire group of people that are marginalized. And I feel like I don't know if that's like a good approach on my part or not, but I just don't want because she was so much more she was so much more than that in the movie, and I just want her to I just want Annie to just exist in the movie, right? So I'm not analyzing that part. I'm not analyzing representation, even though I was about to. But anyways, okay. So Annie and Small clearly, she's a safe space. Like we're really that is very apparent. So Smoke and Annie have had a child. They lost a child, and we are first introduced like when Smoke is negotiating about the food to take or about the food to be served at the juke joint. He also negotiates in flowers for Annie, and he takes the flowers to Annie to give to the baby's grave and all of that. And then they now start, I don't know if it was like bantering or like you could tell like these people really missed each other. And Smoke clearly throughout the whole movie, you could tell that Smoke doesn't take nonsense. But the only person that he let to talk to him anyhow was Annie. And you could literally tell that um you could literally tell that Smoke did not tolerate anybody bad Annie. He didn't even tolerate Stack if you really think about it. Like the only person that he would let like speak nonsense or even like was Annie. And the only person that he truly listened to was also Annie. If you progress through the movie, you get what I'm saying? So it's like the love that those two portrayed in that movie was so deep, was like it transcended a lot of things. It transcended, I feel like, so because a lot of people have like the preferences of the romances that they liked. Some people liked Sammy and his girl, some people like Stack and his and Mary and all of that. But I feel like the one true romance that was like truly portrayed, or that you could even tell that transcended time, or even transcended the earth, if you could say, was Smoke and Annie. Smoke listened to her ideas, even though he did not fully understand what she meant. He did not even fully understand what she was about, because she was like a priestess of some sort, or somebody that was into the magic, voodoo, and all of that. So yeah, he gave Annie patience, which she had zero of when it came to everybody else. So now, why is Annie so integral in this story of sinners, right? The story was exploring blackness from different angles: music, spirituality, love, written in various forms as well. You could see love written like from the community perspective, romance, friendship, and all of that. And Annie, I feel like, was one of the people that was also integral in that, because she was portrayed to be like most black women are in our communities. She was portrayed to be like the rock of the group. You get what I'm saying? She had like a link with almost everybody. And then it also another, just to explore more of why Annie was integral. Um, she was the one that had like the most knowledge of what was going on. And she I feel like because of that she made the story move forward, and she also like had like a solid plan on how to survive. I think she also portrayed like they portrayed her in a sensible and multifaceted way, for the way for the time, from my understanding, where she wasn't just like, because a lot of the time when they're portraying somebody that's very spiritual, they usually portray them in a way that's like, oh, I'm just dealing with my gut, I believe my gut, da, 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 da. But her, she was also coming from a point like, oh, this is what I know, this is what I don't know, this is what da, 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 da. We can do this from my knowledge. You get what I'm saying? And and the other question that I had was, did Smoke deserve Annie? I feel like no. I feel like no, Smoke didn't deserve Annie, but Annie liked Smoke. Smoke and Annie was just, I just feel like people that just get each other even though they're very different. That's what Smoke and Annie were. So let's move on. Let's move on back to Mary, right? So why was Mary important? She was the link between the vampires and the people in the juke joint. So she low-key showed that she wanted validation from both sides by the way she made the story progress. Because the vampires, remember, I don't know if I'm saying the name correctly, yo guys. English is not my first language. But they come to the door, and then they're like, and then now Mary now convinces Stark, who was already dancing when they were singing the song on the door, which was the most vanilla song that you'd ever hear. But anyway, she convinces Stark that, oh, let me go to the vamps before they knew that they were vampires, by the way. Let me go to the vamps and talk to them so that they can play so we can get money. But it's like, why why did she feel the need to do that when the majority of them already decided that we don't need to do that tonight? We've already made enough, or what, we've already made the mark that we wanted to make. So in the future, people will be coming. You get what I'm saying? And even the whole 1/8 black thing, or 1/4, or whatever she was saying, like, what was the reason for her always validating that? Her, clearly she's very white passing. You can never tell she's black until she decides to do that black scent thing. You get what I'm saying? And I feel like she had to be the one that had to, infect the group. Well, she had to be the one. She was the one that had to like cause the vampires to now infiltrate the group. You get what I'm saying? Without Mary, I don't think the vampires would have had a chance. Maybe with somebody else. Maybe if they presented money to somebody else. So now let's move to Pearline. Pearline linked with my boy Sammy. Girl, where was Pearline's husband? Where was Pearline's husband, guys? Yo, guys, I feel like Loki, Pearline was so unserious. Like in so many, like at the same time, I get it. If you don't like your husband like that, why should you stay? But she was so unserious. Like, she liked things. Like, what do you mean? Like, you just met Sammy one night. He looks very young, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna go, and then you're gonna be acting as if you don't want him, but then at the end of the day, you now want him. Like, what the hell? And among everybody, she did not have relation with the people in the juke joint like that because she did not know them from before, like the way everybody else, or at least the people that were really shown in the movie like that. And I feel like Perlin was very essential to explore Sammy's duality. Because I know the way we're introduced to Sammy, we're really introduced to somebody that wants to explore more outside of religion. But I don't feel like we're really introduced to him. I don't think we ever get Sammy's person or Sammy's personality without Perlin. Because we now get his human desires, we now get his boyhood, we now see his childishness through Perlin. You get what I'm saying? We also get him growing up. We also get that sense of Sam growing up through Perlin as well. We get Sam's complexity. Hey, yo, guys, through Perlin. And I feel like Sammy's adulthood really started that night. And one of the integral parts was Perlin. At the same time also of what happened in the juke joint because of the vamps and all of that. And I feel like to Sammy, I feel like that she was one of the reasons at the end of it all. I feel like Perlin was low key one of the reasons that actually solidified him leaving the church for real at the end of the day. Because what incentive did he have in the church? I feel like when sinners come to streaming, you guys should really give it a chance. You should really watch it because it was such a good watch. And I remember my first watch, I watched it with my friend. We watched it on IMAX. Oh, amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. And then the second time I watched it on normal, you could tell the difference. But one of the best movies that I watched the year, and I love going to the cinema. And I feel like the cinema is like a lost art now. Streaming, da da da, because of streaming, TikTok, da da da. But nah, I really enjoyed Sinners. And yeah, what other movies have I watched this May? I watched Captain America. I don't know if I watched Captain America in May or April. I'm a bit fuzzy there, but I've also watched what's that movie? Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts. I give it like a 6 out of 10 because yeah, I loved the way the the woman was written in Thunderbolts. But my only question with Thunderbolts is how come when you're writing women, right? It's always that you only write them correctly when it has something to do with emotions. You just can't write women correctly when it's like an action movie. Like I was just going, I think I wasn't expecting the emotional aspect of what Thunderbolts was gonna be. But anyways, you guys, thank you so much for listening to me about Sinners. The next episode, I hope you guys join me. The next episode, I have more things to discuss. And yeah, so the song of the episode is Easier Said Than Done by Stormzy. I'm sorry, by Jack James and Stormzy. If you love the song, please always comment and let other people know that I do this situation. And don't forget, don't take yourself and life too seriously.